to share some reading journal updates with you. So we'll set up the third quarter cover page together and chat about some books I've been reading recently. So my reading goal this year is 24 books, and to be honest, I didn't get through as many books in the past 3 months as I had hoped for. Last month was pretty busy for me again because of my shop launch, and I've also been really into knitting recently, which has kind of taken over my free time activities. But I still have hope that we can turn the situation around for the second half of the year. Oh, and if you're interested, I finally made a Goodreads profile, so you can see all the books I mentioned and have previously read there. I also added lots of random books that I've read previously, like in my childhood, so I think the latest ones probably have a more accurate rating. But anyway, I actually just finished reading the first book in the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin, and while editing this video, I'm already over half through the second one. This is a series that has been recommended for me so many times, and it's one of the highest rated series on Goodreads I've ever read, and seems to have won some awards as well. And yeah, after reading the first book, I totally get why. I won't talk about this one too much in this video because I'll set up a spread about it after I finish the whole series, so we'll probably have a long chat about this in the next reading journal video. Otherwise, I started this quarter by reading the second book in the Dublin Murder Squad series, and I set up this combined spread of the first 2 books. As I mentioned in the last video, this is a very well-written, captivating murder mystery crime series that also revolves quite a lot around the character dynamics, which I really like. I actually like the second book in the series even more than the first one. It had a very interesting setting for a crime story like this, and I think it also got a lot to do with the main character from whose perspective the book was written. I won't spoil anything more than that, but I do highly recommend this series for any crime or mystery fans. Oh, and by the way, just to let you know, there are some spoilers included in my notes that I write about these books, so only read them if you're fine with that, but in these videos I won't spoil anything. But yeah, I think my pattern this year has been not finishing the series I've picked up. I don't know why, but I recently felt like if I read too many books in the same genre, I start to get bored very easily. So to avoid that becoming a reading slump, I just change it up and read something different. But yeah, that's why we are completely changing gears here, and the next book I read was no other than Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I think I mentioned in the previous video how I would really want to read my first Jane Austen book, and I actually had a different one in mind, but then I somehow ended up reading this one instead. I don't even know how that happened. Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I've also seen the longer TV series. And after all, I'm actually very glad that I chose to go with this one by her rather than a story I didn't know beforehand. I'm not a native English speaker, as you can probably hear, but I read in English these days, and this was by far the most challenging book for me in terms of the language. It's not a big surprise if you consider that it's written in the early 1800s, but nevertheless, I'm really happy I read it anyway because I love this story so much, and I think it taught me a lot about the language and time period. But now let's move on again, and we'll set up this next book spread together because I thought it would make this video a little bit more interesting. So next, I read the first book in the series I've also been recommended by you guys, which is the Veronica Speedwell series. So this one is very difficult to put into any one category because it kind of has everything. I guess it's technically a murder mystery, but it also has a lot of romance, history, and for me it was maybe mostly an adventure style story. I loved this book. It was very funny and so elegantly written, and I already know that I will be reading more from this series. I think this one is a much more graceful murder mystery. Reminds me a little bit more of the style of Agatha Christie rather than some of the newer dark police crime stories, if you know what I mean. So if you're not really into those dark murder mysteries, I think you might still really enjoy this one. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 for me for some reason, but I think I gave it like a solid 8.5 out of 10. And from all the books I read this year, I think this was definitely closer to the top. So Veronica Speedwell, who's the main character in this story, is a natural historian who specializes in lepidoptery, which means studying butterflies. So I thought this was an amazing opportunity to use some of my new butterfly stickers from Ikigai Papier that's run by Heda from Mochi Bujo. I recently ordered pretty much every sticker sheet she has, and they are so beautiful and high quality, so definitely check her out if you haven't already. I already know I'll get so much use out of these in my reading journal. But yeah, now that we are done with this very non-murder mystery looking spread, let's flip over and finally get into the new summer cover spread, which will just be the cover for the next 3 months from now. I don't read enough books to set a cover for each month, as I've mentioned in the previous videos, so I think this quarterly approach has worked very well for me this far. And this time I wanted to create something very summery and a little bit vintage, of course. That seems to be the style of my reading journal overall. And I decided to use some of these new washi tapes that I designed for the washi tape shop. I'll leave a link to this collection and all the other stickers and tools I'm using in this video to the description. So I started with this old newspaper style tape in the sides of the pages. And then I'll just use some different pictures that I've printed out from the internet. I like to always print things on a sticker paper because it saves me some time while setting up these pages. And almost all the sticker papers I use are from online labels. I'll link those down below as well. So I wanted to include some green tones here and keep everything very calm and as much in the same color palette as possible. I always just have a pile of different papers and stickers and pictures next to me while setting up these spreads, so I test them out on the pages and see how layering different elements would look like. In general, this has been such a fun way for me to enjoy my reading journal, because as much as I like to draw in my regular bullet journal, it's sometimes so nice to be able to create something completely different and with a fraction of the time as well. I finished this page with the third quarter title, and then I like to set up a small reading ideas list here. So in the third quarter, I'll definitely first finish the Broken Earth series, and since that one is more in the pure fantasy or sci-fi genre, I think I'll probably crave some good old romance after that. So for now, I listed the Black Wolf series by Marcia Canham. This is a Robin Hood inspired novel from the same writer. I read the pirate love story in the beginning of this year, and I fell in love with her writing style, so this one sounded like something I would really enjoy. Then I have the Kingmaker Chronicles, which is a fantasy romance series focusing on the Greek mythology. So that one sounded very interesting and a little bit different as well. Then the new Cormoran Strike book is coming out in August, I believe, and that's my most anticipated book of the year, so I'll probably start it immediately when it comes out. And then I have some other books here too that already came out this year, like The War of Two Queens from the Blood and Ash series. I actually don't know why I haven't felt like picking this one up yet. There are some series that I have a little bit hard time getting back to if I read the other books like a year ago or something, which is why I try to only start ones now that have already been finished. Also, the new book in the Firebird Chronicles is coming out soon, and I'm really looking forward for that one. It was definitely one of my favorite series I read last year. But I guess that's pretty much it for this reading journal update. As always, please leave your recommendations and reading updates to the comments. I think most of the books I've been reading have been recommended by you guys, and I haven't had even one book this year that I didn't feel like finishing, so that says a lot. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are, and see you in my next one. Bye bye!